Welcome everybody to Targeting Winners. This is part 2 of our 2026 SEC preview. Joining me as always, my partners in prognostication and often questionable financial decisions. We got Darren and Pete. Peter, still sailing the seas or what? What you doing?
I'm sitting in my house and I specialize in very poor financial decisions. But we were talking about Hawaii in week 0 a little bit ago. So that's coming up very soon. Very excited about my Rainbow Warriors. But at the moment, I'm very excited about part 2 of the SEC. So looking forward to dive in there. So let's do it.
And Darren, you should be sailing. You should have a boat out there. What's going on up there? You still afloat or what?
Bro, I can't even imagine what people that actually have to deal with flooding on a yearly basis, how they get through some of that. I mean, you guys saw the track being horse players. Whoo! There were some towns not too far from me that literally had just shy of 12 inches of rain in like a 36-hour span. It was insane, but nothing bad here. So hopefully all those people, didn't lose anything and they're doing all right. But yeah, some epic rainfall around here. But all good. Looking forward to, like Pete said, part 2. And despite what it looks like, Pete and I do not get together and put, the things in the studio. We were just kind of like, we have problems, and we think alike, and
many problems, many problems.
I am also excited about Hawaii. So yeah, I mean, I already kind of have a feeling 4 weeks from now. But yes, boy. Guys, 30 days from now, exactly 30 days, week 0.
Let's do it.
Oh God. Next thing you know, it's going to be August, and then
yeah, all hell's going to break loose. But for tonight, we're breaking down the second half of the SEC, Missouri all the way down to Vanderbilt. So going to examine the team schedules, rosters, transfer portal, all that stuff. So let's skip right down to it. Let's not waste any more time. We're going to start with Missouri. They're plus 3,000 to win the conference, and their over-under is at 3.5 wins. Darren, let's start with you. Where do you see these guys going?
Yeah, so that's the Hard Rock Odds DraftKings guys, plus 3,500. So if you're on Missouri to win it all, get a little bit better number there. As always, shop around. We'll give you some different odds here as we go along. Again, that 3.5. No, it's 6.5. Juice to the over there. Yeah, so 8-5 last year, 4-4 of the conference, lost in the Gator Bowl to Virginia, and Pete should be familiar with their new offensive coordinator, Chip Lindsey, coming over from Big Blue. All right, offensively, we talked last week about how there may not be one guy who means more to their team than Byron Brown. 1A could be Ahmad Hardy. We found out from SEC Media Days last week. He has been medically cleared. The head coach said give him 5 to 8 weeks. So that's anywhere from, at the time he made that announcement, you're looking at week 1 to somewhere around week 4. And I just, before we break it down, I have no idea what to expect this team because I don't know what kind of workload he's going to have. But looking at the offense outside of Ahmad Hardy, if they decide to go easy on where he's not ready to return, Jamal Roberts, not a bad option for backup, had over 750 yards and 6 TDs last year. Another question here, Austin Simmons. Now remember, this is the guy who did beat out Trinidad Chambliss for the Ole Miss starting job before he got hurt. Not really good when he was in there. 75 pass attempts, had 5 picks in those 75 throws. So Chip Lindsey really needs to work on him cutting down on his turnovers. But again, this team really wasn't good at passing the ball. And if you had Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts, why would you try to pass the ball here? So don't blame them there. All the starting wide receivers from last year are gone. Ole Miss transfer Caden Lee does come over. Caleb Goody from Cincinnati comes over. So that certainly helps the receiving core a little bit. Tight end Brett Norfleet, a name to keep an eye on. He's an excellent receiving tight end. 3 returning starters on the O-line. Missouri always seems to have a pretty good O-line for whatever reason, but maybe that's why Ahmad Hardy's really good. But yeah, Pete, I don't know what you think here. This offense, I don't know what to expect from Ahmad Hardy. I mean, dude's got a pro future in all likelihood. How hard do you think they ride this guy if he's ready to go?
I think they ride him. I think that's what they're going to do, right? I don't know what else they would do. So from my perspective, they're going to ride him, and that's that. I mean, I don't know what else you would do, right? So, agreed. Coming up from Big Blue, I think that is the only play here. Interesting. This team is a little confusing to me. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do. As I said, I mean, I think they're going to run the ball, and we talk about run the damn ball. I think they're going to run the damn ball, and that's what I would expect here. I don't know what to expect from the receiver core. And I went back and forth and looking at the guys that came in. I don't know what to expect out of them, to be honest with you. So I don't know what that's going to do with this offense. So I mean, I went back and forth for like half an hour on this team, and I really don't know how to read this team. This team is it's just confusing to me. So to me, I think they're going to run the ball. I don't know what the receivers are going to do, and I am a little bit on the fence with this team. I don't like that number. Was it plus 3,000? Is that the number you had up there, Tim?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't like that number. I mean, I don't know what that is. That 3.5 wins. I mean, is that correct?
No, it's 6.
I was saying, yeah, it's 6.5.
And I was gonna say those numbers don't match up at all. That doesn't make any sense. So okay, so 6.5. I mean,
I think either way, I'm taking the under. I would.
I was gonna say, yeah, from the schedule perspective, looking at it right here, I like the under. Yeah, I don't know how they're winning more than 5 games on that schedule as I look at it. So
Pine Bluff
I'm not really high on this team. I don't hate this team. I don't like this team. I'm not high on this team. I don't like their schedule. I think the schedule is problematic for them with an offense that I'm not quite sure what it's going to be. So that's where I sit on this team. I don't know what to do, but I don't like the schedule at all. I think I think it's problematic for them. That's my first thoughts, at least.
Yeah, defensively, pretty good team last year. 8th in total defense, but only 107th in defensive returning production. So that's probably not good. And again, no returning starters. So anybody coming back here was a backup player. A couple good pieces here. I mean, Robert Woodard Jr. and Nicholas Rodriguez, pretty decent linebacking duo there. Looking at the line, I mean, Darius Smith, probably the best guy coming back there. And the starting secondary is basically going to be brand new. And again, this is a unit that only had 7 picks. With a guy like Austin Simmons, you probably want to have something a little bit better than that in the turnover ratio to kind of set him up while he gets his interception problems under control. Yeah, I mean, and 12 total takeaways as a unit. I mean, that's just not going to get it done in the SEC. I didn't have a lean or a bet just because of the Ahmad Hardy uncertainty, but I had made that note before. Yeah, we had heard he could be 8 weeks out. And again, you look at that non-conference schedule, you could certainly rest him against Arkansas, Pine Bluff, but I mean, they have Kansas early on. Yeah. You would kind of like to have him there. That's always a big rivalry between those two teams. And then, you know, we all kind of like Troy. I mean, I don't think they're going to lose at home to Troy, but it's not like you're playing UMass or something like that. No offense.
Not fair. I mean, I think you hit it. I mean, the defense is meh. They're okay. They're solid. I mean, they don't have an elite pass rusher, which I think is a problem. The linebacker core is solid, but not great. Secondary is decent, but they don't have a lot of depth. So I don't know. I mean, I think they're kind of in the middle is where I would expect them to be. But yeah, I think that Troy game could potentially be challenging. And yeah, that schedule is just not very favorable for them. I think that's going to be an issue.
Unpredictable offense and defense, meh, with a tough schedule. Okay, good.
Yeah, that doesn't really shine on them, does it?
I also see here in my notes, you mentioned the sacks here. The top 3 guys who led the team in sacks also gone. So
exactly right. So
a struggling pass rush could get worse. So yeah, I mean this. I don't know, man. It's like I said, it all depends on Hardy. And yeah, you got to think, like, I agree that, like, they should just ride him. But then again, if you're the coach, like, you got to look out what's best for the kid. I mean, it's not like you have a scrub as a backup. So, you know, is he going to be a 1,1700 yard guy? Probably not. But then you wonder, well, can Roberts handle more of a workload? You know, if they reduce Hardy's so that he's ready to have a nice pro career. So too many questions on both sides, but I can't lean under because I could see this team making a bowl. I just don't know if they can find that 7th win somewhere. So one team in the conference, I don't have a lean on for the win total. Tim, you said under.
Yeah, I was leaning under. Even at 3.5, I was leaning under.
No, they're not going
3.5. No,
they're not going 3-9. Play the laugh track because that's just ridiculous.
I think right around 6, right? They could be over on that 6 level. I mean, that's why I scratched my head for like half an hour. I was like, I don't know. I think they have a good running back. Offenses, other than that, I'm not quite sure. Defenses, you know, they're okay. And I don't know what that means in this. I mean, in this conference, that's not exactly positive, right? So I think that's an issue.
All right. Go save the laugh track for later. We're going to move on to Oklahoma. They got 1,200 for the conference. Over under is 7.5 wins. Peter, let's start with you here. We got the Sooners.
Well, I mean, this is a team that both Darren and I like quite a bit. I mean, when we talked about national championship potential, both Darren and I talked about how this team could be in play. And certainly, if we're saying that, then they should be in play for the SEC, which they are. From my perspective, not where my bet is necessarily here. We'll talk about that, but I think this is a really good team, and I am very much leaning when I talk about this team being a really good team on Mateer coming back from his injury this last year. Right, I think John Mateer is a fantastic quarterback. I like this team overall. I mean, his defense is really good. I really, really like this team a lot. I mean, I think if I do like a 10 rating across 10 different factors across the team. I mean, the only thing under 8 is their schedule, because their schedule is a little challenging, right? Outside of that, everything else is like almost 9 or above. There's a couple. I mean, quarterback 9.2. Yeah, the offensive line is really good. Now, how do they do against elite fronts? We'll see, but I think it's a really good line. Defensive front, I really like quite a bit. A really good deep edge rotation. Linebacker core is really good. Their secondary is athletic and experienced and all of that. I love their defense, love their coaching. But this is, to me, a John Mateer show, right? At the end of the day, this is a really good team that last year was unfortunately cursed with the fact that John Mateer got hurt, right? And when he got hurt, when he broke his thumb, he clearly couldn't throw the same anymore. He came back, 2 weeks later and was it 3 picks? I mean, it clearly obviously hurt his game. It hurt the team. But this is an elite player, right? And somebody that I really, really like. So assuming he's fully healed, assuming he's going to be himself again, which I am assuming is going to happen, I expect that he will step up and be exceptional this year. That is absolutely what I expect will happen. So I'm extremely high on Oklahoma this year. Will they win the conference? This is a tough conference, right? It doesn't matter if they win the conference, right? They're going to get in the playoff. I'm very confident about that. And if they get in the playoff, they are a dangerous team, right? And that's so from the national championship discussions we've had, that's where my thought is there. Here on this side, I'm not betting to win the conference because it's just too difficult in this conference, but that win total, right? So 7.5. Can you go to my, do you have my slide up here? In terms of my bet, at least, I took an alternative line because I think that 7.5 is the kind of baseline. They're better than that. There's an alternative line at 8.5 plus 156 that I jumped all over. All right, so 2 units on that line because I think they're a 9-10 win team, easy, even with this difficult schedule, because I think they're that good. Right. The only caveat here, which is a caveat for many of these teams, is if John Mateer gets hurt again, okay, that's out the window. But that's with many of these teams anyway, right? Obviously, if Arch Manning goes down and gets hurt, that's out the window as well. So you can go down the list of many of these teams where it's the same discussion. But if John Mateer is healthy, plays like he can play, this is a playoff team and a very dangerous playoff team, and will win at least 9 or 10 games. So I love this bet. So those are my thoughts on this team.
All right, Dan, let's go back to you. You've got a bigger also.
I initially, when I looked at this and I saw the 7.5 with really not high juice, I was like, wow, that's kind of insulting. What am I missing? Because if you remember last year, I took an alternate win total on at least 8 regular season wins, and this team won 10 games in the regular season, and John Mateer looked like crap for, half the games he played in. I still don't see why this is only 7.5. I thought this should be 8.5. So credit to Pete for taking that plus money on the alternate line. There's really nothing here that I hate about this team. I mean, maybe the defensive line has lost a lot, and this team was first in sacks and third against the run. I mean, they had 9 against Jackson Arnold in that Auburn game last year. But I mean, this linebacking group is pretty much back. The secondary really didn't lose anything as far as starters go. I don't see how this isn't a top 10 defense once again. And they did the same thing last year with a quarterback that wasn't healthy. So, I mean, I know we're supposed to go like offense, defense, but at this point, everything, Pete, you said, I pretty much had written down here as well. I did not jump on the alternate line. I took one last year, didn't want to really press my luck, but their schedule was also ridiculously hard last year.
It's the SEC, for Christ's sake.
I mean,
everybody's schedule is ridiculous.
Not really. We'll get into that later on.
Well, there's a few exceptions, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
But I mean, I just look at this schedule. This schedule isn't that much worse than last year. I mean, your home games, you got Kentucky and South Carolina. I mean, okay, there's two you can probably get right there. You go to Mississippi State, Florida, and Missouri. Yeah, you could probably get those there. That Texas game is going to be tough. Texas does look legit this year. But UTEP, New Mexico, and maybe that Michigan away game is a little hairy. But I mean, this is an 8-4 team if they completely shit the bed. So I mean, I think 7.5, and I don't even remember what I got for juice. It was a minus 140, minus 145,
48 or something. 45.
We have it at the end. It was like around minus 140 to minus 145. But yeah, I agree with Pete. I mean, this could be a playoff team. I mean, they don't need to win the conference. I got a feeling some 3-loss team from the SEC team is going to piss and moan their way in. But if it's Oklahoma, I have a feeling they're going to actually deserve it. Yeah, I mean, it's 8 wins at worst. So, I mean, I'm very confident with this over 7.5, even though the juice a little higher than I like to play. But it's the first thing when I looked at this team. God, that's low. And then I didn't really find anything to make me be like, why is it that low? So I'm in total agreement with Pete. I wished out a little bit and just went with the 7.5 that was out there. But I got a feeling we'll both be cashing this.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's all about the quarterback. I was leaning over myself, but I don't want to go along with you guys. If all three of us have pretty much the same bet, then that just spells doom for.
Oh, we're doomed. Yeah.
So yeah. So we're going to move on to Ole Miss plus 1,000 for the conference. The over-under is also 7.5 wins. Not much change from last year, right? Nothing. No new. No, nothing. No big stories from last year. Nothing. Not at all. So Pete, let's start here. We got your boy who left, and take it away.
I'm not the one wearing the LSU hat, but okay. Oh, sure. I'll be one half. I mean, I think there was some coach guy who left. I don't know. I mean, there was a little kerfluffle about. I don't know what was going on with that, but
no hard feelings.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some feelings were hurt. I think there might be a really interesting game played sometime this year between this team and the team where the coach went to the Darren Hat team guy. Yeah, that guy. That could be a really interesting game later this year. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to flip and think about this team. This is a really talented team. They have a lot of talent in this team, right? I mean, okay, so I think they have a excellent. I mean, their offensive line is really good, experienced and physical. Their skill positions are athletic and explosive, right? The quarterback is solid, right? So I mean, if you look across, I'm going to just stay with the offense right now. We'll go back to our offense defense thing, right? From the offense side, I think there's a really capable, solid, good offense. However, the name we're not supposed to speak, right? Lane is no longer there. So what does this offense look like without Lane there? I don't know, right? And so that's the big question, right? I mean, you can have players, but without the system and the scheme, I don't know what to think about it. So I think they have a lot of talent on this offense. I just don't know what it looks like without Lane. It could be fantastic. I don't know. So I'm really kind of baffled. And we'll talk about defense in a minute, but Darren, what do you think about the offense?
Agree. I mean, and the other thing you said, they don't have Lane, and then the counter to that is, well, they still won a couple games after he left, but the offensive coordinator was still there. Charlie Weiss was still there for those 2 games. He did not leave. So I didn't expect the offense to suddenly struggle once Lane left. But like Pete said, now that the offensive coordinator is gone and Lane is gone, and a fair chunk of players that Lane got to Ole Miss are now gone, I don't know what kind of head coach Pete Golding is. I mean, did he just win a few games off that momentum of like, hey, we'll show you, Lane, that we don't really need you here. Now he's got to be a head coach. Now he's got to coach this team without a fair amount of players that Lane Kiffin brought with him a couple years ago. So, I mean, you got to love the quarterback, Chambliss, and you got to love Kawan Lacey. I mean, they could be the 2 best players at their skill positions in this entire conference. 3 returning stars on the O-line. I see 0 issues with this offense. I think they're going to be just fine. John David Baker comes over from ECU to be the OC. East Carolina always had a pretty up-tempo offense in the American, so I don't see a huge drop-off. But I have a little concern because the new OC is not an in-house promotion. Yeah, maybe a little, but I think Chambliss is obviously an awesome enough athlete to overcome whatever he may have problems with this guy's new offense. Then I'll jump into defense and go back to you. But yeah, the defense is where I have a little bit of concern. I mean, it was probably the Final Four, easily the worst defense that was left when it got to that. And we talked about it last week. The top lineman, Uman Mielen, went to LSU. Their top linebacker, Daughtry, went to LSU. I did bring in a couple good. I mean, they did bring in some quality to replace him, but now you have to have all these guys mesh together sooner rather than later. And Golding is still going to call the defense, so that may actually be helpful. Guy to keep an eye on, Baylor linebacker transfer, Keaton Thomas. Massively awesome spring. People are super high on him from a couple different articles I read, so keep an eye on him. The secondary loses 6 of their defensive backs from last year, so that's probably not good. I don't know what to expect defensively. But again, 7.5 is another one of those win totals. It's like initially that just seemed kind of low. We're going to find out a lot week 1 when they play Louisville in Nashville, because I'm telling you right now, if that spread goes to 7, I am all over Louisville. But the 7.5s are gone. The 7s are gone. It's only sitting 6.5. But yeah, I don't know. You look at this defense, you see questions here, or am I just a moron?
No, I think from the personnel side, certainly there's questions, right? You've had turnover and such. Now, I think like Pete Golding is a defensive guy, right? So I think from the coaching perspective, I think it's interesting because you've got a team that was very offensive focused that I think will be very defensive focused now. Not that they're not going to have a really good offense. I think they have some excellent players, as you mentioned, but I think they're going to be a very defensive focused team now, which could be interesting. You know, maybe more Georgia-like in the future. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what this team evolves into. That 7.5, there's so many teams around the 7.5 win total in the SEC, which is I don't know what to do with. But if you look at this damn schedule, I mean, with a team with so many questions around it, playing Louisville, LSU, the Gators, which we don't know what the heck's going to happen with them, but they could be good. Who knows?
That's a road game. We all saw what happened in Texas when they went to Florida last year.
That could be a problem, right? Texas, they're going to lose that game. Georgia, I mean, look at that schedule. I mean, that is not a pretty schedule. So, you know, if you put a gun in my head, make me do something, I might go under, because I think that schedule is tough, and I think a transition like this is challenging. Not that I don't think they're going to be a good team. I just don't like that schedule, and I can easily probably pick out they're going to lose to LSU. They could lose to Florida. They're going to lose to Texas. I mean, I can find easily 4, maybe 5 losses
against Oklahoma. That's not going to be.
I can see 4 or 5 losses in that schedule. That's a problem, right? So I think it's going to be a little bit of it could be a tough transition year for this team. If they come out of the gate and they lose to Louisville and then they lose to LSU, which could absolutely happen, I mean, that could be an ugly start for this new regime. So who knows what's going to – and then you got the Gators after that. Woo! I mean, this is one of those deals where –
dude, Florida money line. I mean, you telling me they're not going to be emotionally spent after that LSU game? Dude, Florida money line all day.
Oh, hell yeah. Especially if they're 1-2 going in there or something. Oh,
well, no, because then they might be desperate. If they beat Louisville, beat Charlotte, lose to LSU, just the whole – even if they win, they're just going to be spent. I mean, and then go to Florida – yeah, money line all day.
No, you're right. I mean, if you look at that first 4 games of the schedule, that makes an interesting set of plays in the first 4 weeks of this year. So I'm looking forward to the first part of this year. But as of right now, I don't know what to do with this team. I mean, this is a team in major transition from a coach that's one of the top 5 coaches in the league. I don't know what to expect after that. So it is what it is.
Tim?
I actually saw a different line that intrigued me a little bit, and then I looked at the schedule, and then I looked at the way the playoffs are set up. On Hard Rock Bet, they gave odds to make the quarterfinals of the playoffs, and I was like, well, there's 12 teams. There's going to be a group of 6. It's going to be ACC. It's going to be a Big 12, and there's going to be Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So now, so there's going to be 8 spots left. Probably only 4 teams from the Big 10 and 4 from the SEC. So I'm just like, okay, you got Georgia, probably Alabama, most likely Texas,
LSU,
and Oklahoma, LSU. I was like, ooh,
Oklahoma, right?
They were offering 250. If it was like maybe, I think it should be more 550s. I mean, because it's going to be tough to get in, even because I know they're going to look for any excuse to put in SEC teams. But Notre Dame's going to have a spot. They're going to be in the top 12.
Sure.
So they pretty much have a buy-in. So I laid off that. I always give, because they got the quarterback, I always think that's good for a couple wins. I think they're going to win a couple games that we expect them to lose. So I would lean over slightly, but not nearly enough where I would place a bet on that. So that's where I was with that. I was actually toying with maybe get them to get to the quarterfinals of the playoffs. I think it was at plus 250 or something like that.
Wow.
I leaned off it. No
Okay.
thanks.
No, don't be so sure about that 4-4. I mean, the committee is all SEC. I wouldn't surprise me. It was like 5-3,
5-3. I would not be
5-3,
surprised.
SEC, Big 12, G6, Notre Dame. Because I mean, Big 10's still really top heavy, which we'll get into in a couple of weeks. But I mean, you do have an interesting 4 to 5 teams below that have some schedules that they certainly could be the fourth team.
For sure.
But I think if it comes down to the SEC's like, well, we're playing a 9th conference game now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's good.
like,
They'll get 5. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going 5-3, 1-1, G6 Notre Dame. But
it makes sense. That's probably how to play out.
But don't worry, guys. If they expand the playoffs, there will be no more arguing. So don't
Yeah,
worry.
of course not.
Absolutely.
True.
Job well done, committee. All right, let's move on. South Carolina, they're at plus 5,000 to win the conference. The over-under win totals at 6.5. Darren, let's start with you this time.
Yeah, another team that and I was talking to you about this, Tim, we all kind of do our thing. Pete's got his 10-point checklist. I got like a 7.1, and I just kind of go through, and my numbers are like, wow, I should be high on South Carolina this year. And then I kind of looked at the team, and then I'm like, I'm not so high on South Carolina this year. So
that's interesting. I have the same issue. It's interesting.
So it wasn't just me. So yeah. So offensively, I mean, I have no issues with Lenore Sellers. I think the 2024 Lenore Sellers is what we're going to see more of because Mike Shula is no longer the offensive coordinator.
Great.
Kendall Briles, excellent offensive coordinator for this team. I do love that. Shane Beamer, not so much. But yeah, I mean, this team sucked. They were last in the SEC in total offense. The running game is a gigantic question mark. Shula Faison left for the NFL. The guy who's supposed to be their lead running back, Matt Fuller, only averaged 3.5 yards a carry. Nick Harbor, stud. Remember that name?
My guy.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
I actually know his name now because he stayed for an extra year. So
you probably don't know his jersey number, but you know his name.
8.
So that's good.
Number
Progress.
8.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Of course.
Jaden Sellers, an excellent spring. They're saying South Carolina Twitter is telling me that's something I need to keep an eye on. Offensive line, gigantic question mark, and this is probably the main reason why I'm ignoring my numbers and going with my gut feeling here. 43 sacks given up, and then their starting tackle Josiah Thompson already out for the year, and then Jacarius Peak and NC State offensive line transfer uncertain for the season. So some of the help they brought in is already injured. They brought in 8 other offensive linemen specifically in the portal. I see this horrible scenario where Lenore Sellers is just like running for his life, looking like Kyler Murray, who when he runs around, he looks like a toddler with his parents' cell phone running around the living room and he won't give it back. I think the offense will be good, but there are just so many questions with the run game and the O-line. I'm worried. I mean, Pete, you look at this offense. What do you think?
He's going to be running for his life. Yeah. But I mean, this team, same thing. I'm looking at my ratings, right? So 1 through 10 for 10 different categories. Almost all of them, except for 1, well, except for 2, are 8 or above. The other 2 are just below 8. I mean, Lenore Sellers is going to be fantastic, right? I mean, he's going to be running for his life. He'll probably get killed out there at some point, right? Feel bad for the guy. But I was just pondering, right? This team, I have such good ratings for them, and yet I have no expectations for them because they're in the SEC. Pick them up and drop them in the ACC, and they are like
they're 9-3,
second, fighting potentially to win the conference, right? Like that's this team is a good team in the wrong conference. I mean, that's the way I look at them. They're in the wrong place. Like this is a really good team in a bad place because they're not. They've been good over the years at times. They've been quite good over the years at times, but like they're never quite as good as like the good team. They're not Georgia. They're not Bama. They're not. Texas now. They're not these teams. Like they really ought to consider going to the ACC because they'd be fantastic in the ACC. They'd be in the top 3 of the ACC consistently because I think they're a really good team just in the wrong place. I think that the offensive line is going to be a bit of a problem, which I think Lenore is going to be running for his life. I think they do have some playmakers, but he's got to be able to set his feet to throw the ball to him. And I don't know how well that's going to work. I just we talked last week about this is one of the guys I'm concerned is going to get nicked up, right? He's going to get chipped and nicked. And by like week 3 or 4, he's going to be not injured and out, but just banged up to the point where he just can't be himself. and it's going to be a problem, right? Because that's going to stymie this offense, and largely because the offensive line is just not great. That's my concern, right? Because they're going to play some really good teams early on, and there's going to be a problem, right? And he's going to get like Bama, right? September 26th, right there, right? They're going to be like, send the everybody out after the guy, right? That man is going to have a problem on that day, and I feel bad for him. So I love the guy. I don't want to see anything bad happen to him, but I am concerned that offensive line is not going to hold up against the elite teams in this conference. And I think that's where, when I say they should move to the ACC, I don't think they can recruit at the level to be good enough in this conference, because they can't get the line players that Georgia and Bama and Texas can get, and they can never compete because of that. Simple as that, right? And to me, that would be my argument all day long. If I was the athletic director at South Carolina, I would be arguing we should move. So at the end of the day, good team, wrong place. That's my argument with SC.
Tim, I know this is the one team you have a bet on. You want to add anything on this offense before we switch over to the other side of the ball?
Well, you stole my thunder a little bit. I mean, I've got, last year they were not good. So, to say the least, it just felt like you said, Sellers running for his life. He had to have been sacked at least 30, 35 times last year. Just every time I see him, he was getting sacked. They did rebuild the line. I think Sellers is good for a couple wins, but then you look at this schedule. And so I bet the under of 6.5 wins, just because I'm like, let's just say they start 3-0. I don't see where they can get 4 definite wins. That's if they start 3-0, because Mississippi State, who knows, but then, we got Oklahoma on there, A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Florida could go either way. I mean, that's a tough schedule. Clemson to end the year, Tennessee, we'll get to them a little bit later. So just based on that schedule, I can't find 7 wins anywhere. I'm not sure if I can find 6 wins anywhere. So I did another 2-unit play. I did it on the under of 6.5 wins. I got -130. That was at Hard Rock Bets.
Pete, did you have anything on the defense, since Tim just basically like F the script and we just pick? He just doesn't care.
I just went right to the pick. I mean, it's, I had nothing on the defense. I was just looking at the offense. We're not going to score that much unless that line really bucks up. So,
no, I think it's a fundamentally sound defense. They're not a bad defense. They're not also an exceptional defense, right? They're a solid defense. I mean, their defensive front, they're physical. They don't get enough pressure. It needs to be more consistent. It's like one of these teams that occasionally they get some pressure, but they don't consistently. I think the linebackers are experienced and fundamentally sound. I think that is probably their best consistent unit. I think their secondary is solid. It's not great, but it's solid. So I like their secondary. I don't dislike their defense. Also, it's not Georgia. All right. It's not a great defense, but it's a solid defense. I don't think it, if their offense, if they could protect Lenoris and they can score some points, I think their defense can keep them in games and they'd be fine. But, when they're playing elite offenses and, that offense is being leaky, the offensive line is being leaky, that's where the problems are going to occur. And I think when they play somebody like Texas, and he's getting chased for his life and Arch is lighting it up, that's going to be a problem, right? I think in those games, that's where the problems will occur.
Yeah, I also, they have Dylan Stewart on the edge, who's obviously a stud. The problem with that is he's got a lingering back issue. He's already missed all of the spring, so he's already a little bit behind. And again, as much as the offensive line was giving up sacks, the defensive line certainly wasn't getting any, 21 for the entire season. And Brian Thomas, who led their team with 7 of those sacks, is in the NFL. So I don't know where the pressure is going to come from. I agree with you. I do love the secondary, however. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and Tim mentioned this schedule just looks. Oh man, it's
I wouldn't want to play that.
I'm not gonna lie. I gotta go back and redo my numbers. Like, how the hell did I like this team with all the issues here? But yeah, like I said, the offense coordinator hire was excellent. Like you said, with this offensive line, maybe a lot of quick passes, a couple 3-4 step drops. Lenoris, get rid of the ball before you eat it. Yeah, I agree with Tim here. I don't see 7 wins here.
I think you hit it, right? You can like this team and hate the position they're in, right? Because that schedule is terrible. It's just not. They're a good team that's just in a bad spot. I mean, unfortunately for them.
Yep. All right. Well, let's keep on going. We got Tennessee. They're at plus 2,000. The over-under total is 7.5 wins. Peter, let's start with you with the Volunteers.
Tennessee, my favorite bipolar team. It's a team that I can never figure out. One week they're good, the next week they're terrible. I don't know what goes on. The one thing I can say consistently about Tennessee is you don't want to go there and play them, right? They are dangerous at home, especially for Florida. If you're Florida, you do not want to go to Tennessee, right? That's a bad place for you to go play. But really, it's a dangerous place to go play. But otherwise, like if you look at my ratings, at least half these ratings are lower than South Carolina, right? If you look at just the position ratings, and that's why I say like South Carolina is a good team and a bad position. Like Tennessee, they're not that great of a team. They do have a home field advantage, and they do seem to have the ability to step up at times and play above themselves. Why? I have no idea. Because honestly, other than occasionally having a really good player here or there, they're like an average plus SEC team, right? I think they have upside, like quarterback side, there's some upside there, but there's a lot of uncertainty, I think, in that position. So I don't know where that goes. Offensive line is a decent SEC unit, but they're certainly not elite. They're just a decent SEC unit. Skill positions, I think they have good speed. There is some playmaking ability, but once again, depending on what happens at quarterback and really the line, you can have some playmaking ability, but if you can't get protection, that's a problem, right? There's no time for plays to develop, so there is no playmaking ability doesn't matter, right? I think that's going to be the problem for this team this year. Is I think that offensive line is going to break down too often, and I don't think they're going to be able to do anything other than, as I said, they're going to step up and beat somebody they shouldn't. That they'll do. They'll beat somebody at home, right? That's just what they do. They're going to be their usual bipolar Tennessee self somehow, and I have never been able to figure out Tennessee, other than the fact that I don't dislike this team. Obviously I'm a big Peyton Manning guy, right? But even when he was there, right? I mean, he was exceptional most of the time, and still they would lose a game they shouldn't lose. So it's been consistent with Tennessee for decades that they do this. So I don't know what it is with this team, but it's just a very strange team to me. So anyway, Darren, what do you think?
I do like this offense. I mean, this is a unit that was first in the SEC in scoring, 7th overall in the country in total offense. And we talked about Alabama last week and how I personally kind of would love to see Keelan Russell get this gig, and I think that would make Alabama a 9 or 10 win team. I would love to see Faison Brandon get this job over George McIntyre, because I think if he gets it, I don't think you're going to see any change in what Tennessee can do offensively. They got a couple of their top wide receivers back, including Braylon Staley. They got Deshaun Bishop back, had over 1,000 yards and 16 TDs on the ground. You mentioned the O-line. I have 4 starters coming back. I don't see anything I hate about this offense. That being said, we kind of go over to the defensive side of the ball, and Pete, will get your thoughts on this. Jim Knowles is over here as the new defensive coordinator. Yes, Tennessee's defense was terrible, but the one thing you always read about Jim Knowles' defense is it always takes a year to implement what he wants to implement and actually start to see the results. That's not going to work with this Tennessee defense. I mean, bottom 3 in the conference in a lot of things. He brought over Chaz Coleman from Penn State. Well, he got medically disqualified. Now he's not even on the team. 8 other of their defensive linemen left through the portal. Top 4 tacklers are back. But outside of that, I don't see a whole. This is going to look like last year's Tennessee team. I think exactly. And I think, Pete, you're exactly right. They're going to shit the bed against somebody they shouldn't. They're going to pull an upset against somebody they have no business beating. And I don't know what you think about this defense, but I kind of have the under 7.5 juice slightly. Yeah, I kind of see that. I do have a lean under, but what are your thoughts on the defense?
Yeah, I think you're right on the defense, right? Knowles is a brilliant defensive mind. The problem is, right, it's a disguise coverage system. It's a very complex system. You need the right personnel to run that system, and it takes a year or 2 to bake that system in, right, to have the people to do it. If you don't have the people, if you don't have the right people, right, like you need some intelligent people to run this defense. If you don't have that, you're screwed, right? It's a problem, right? Because they can't do it, and then you have misreads, open holes, blown coverages. that's what you're going to see, right? I think that's going to be a problem. So, yeah, when I look at this thing, are they going to beat somebody they probably shouldn't? Yeah. Would I be shocked if they somehow beat, I don't know. I don't want to put LSU out there, but I don't know, maybe Bama in October or something. I'm not going to roll. I'm not rolling Lane out. I thought about it. No, but could they beat Bama in October or something? Yeah, maybe. Who the hell knows, right?
I have Bama over. They're not beating Bama either.
Who knows? Whatever. But then they'll get rolled by somebody they shouldn't, like Arkansas or something. I'll just kill them, right? I don't know. I mean, who knows? I mean, that's just Tennessee, right? That's just what. Well, I guess Bama's not at. No, that is at home, right? Bama's coming into Tennessee. Could they beat? Yes, they could beat them at home. I mean, who knows, right? This is the weird shit that Tennessee does, right? So at the end of the day, I think the defense is a problem, not because they don't have the right defensive coordinator, because he is a brilliant defensive mind and the system is great. They don't have the personnel. They try to bring in some of the personnel, as Darren said, and that has kind of gone to the shitter on them, unfortunately. And so you can't recover from that. You're kind of stuck, right? And so what do? Right? You're going to have to try to run the system. You can't change the system. You have to run the system with players that really probably are not ready to run the system. That's going to be a problem. Right? We've seen that in the NFL many times, right? I mean, it's a little different than NFL, but you see like defensive systems that are made for certain types of players, and if they don't have it, what happens? It looks like hell because they don't have the right players, right? So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I was leaning under as well. Any final thoughts, Darren?
No.
Perfect.
Done.
Moving on, Texas A&M with my beloved Marcel Reed, plus 850 to win the SEC. The win total for the over-under is 8.5 wins. Peter, let's start with you on this one.
Oh boy, I want Darren to go so bad, so I'm going to keep mine shorter because I can't wait to go to myself.
I can go first if you want to start. You want to start with the defense because
the floor is yours.
I want you to start with. Well, okay, you go first. You want me to
start defense, then we can talk about the offense, or you want to switch this one like we did with Georgia last week?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Defensively, first of all, I'm just going to say for everything I say, love Mike Elko. He's the only reason I don't have like 9 units on the under here because I like that dude. All right. Defensively, I think this unit's still going to be good. But a lot of defensive line turnover. A lot of offensive line turnovers, but we'll get into that later. 43 sacks last year. Most of those are gone. Lost everything on the line except one starter. Lost a lot of depth. Not sure what you're getting out of that line. Their linebacker, Damian Sanford, one of their top players. He's going to miss part of the season due to an injury, although he's expected to come back sooner rather than later. Another excellent pickup from Elko in the portal. Tulsa transfer Ray Coney, 10th of the nation tackles. He's going to be a stud. Secondary looks good as they were tops in the conference in pass defense. And I'm just going to say that's kind of impressive because this team had a really good offense. You would think opponents would be passing all over these guys. But shout out to the secondary. They were still tops in the SEC in pass defense. The one thing I don't like about this pass defense, 3 interceptions the entire season. 3. Dude, UMass went 0-12, and they picked off 4 passes. So I'm just saying, and that's true. You can look it up. Didn't make a slide, but it's facts. Yeah, I think the defense is going to be good, but I think if you're expecting anything close to what you got last year, I think you're going to be somewhat disappointed. I'm expecting some defensive regression here. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really good defense, a really solid defense, right? But I don't think they're going to be at the level they were last year. Yeah, those picks are interesting because last year they were disruptive, right? And disruption usually creates turnovers, and yet it didn't, and that's odd. Even if you don't have like elite secondary people who are stepping in front of passes and such, when you have disruption, it leads to bad passes, which leads to picks, and it didn't, which is weird. So I don't know if that's just an anomaly. Because last year that defense was really good, and they had really good players in the secondary and pressure up front. So maybe that was just an anomaly, right? There's just weird stats that pop out sometimes, and maybe it's that. I don't know. But, I mean, I think this defense is very fundamentally sound. That secondary is fundamentally sound. Their linebackers are athletic and disciplined. That front, yeah, they might lose a little pop, but they're still a really good front. So, yeah, I think this defense is not going to be a problem. Yeah, they're not going to be elite, but I think they're a step below that. They're a really good defense. The defense is not going to be a problem. I think the defense will keep them in games. They'll play well. They'll be fine, right? So it's the offensive side that I think is interesting. I think they're, obviously talented, right? They've had some, they've shown that they can score. They've shown that they can play with some really good teams. They've also shown like in tennis, with what I said about Tennessee, that they could be a little bipolar. Right? At times they don't seem to play up the way they thought. So let's talk about, well, one of Tim's favorite players, Marcel Reed, right? So I would say that if you look across the conference, I wouldn't consider him to have the highest ceiling of players in this conference, right? He's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. He's a good player. And I would also say he's a relatively decent decision maker. However, he doesn't force a lot of throws, but I think I think that is one of the problems with him, right? He doesn't force a lot of throws. I think he's too conservative. When there are opportunities for him to get the ball down the field, at times when they need to, right? When they need to like be pushing the ball and being more aggressive, he's not, right? And when I went back and looked at some of the film from last year, because I went back and looked, so I wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's one of the things I saw. Like, I think his pocket presence has gotten better. It's still not great, but it's better. He's gotten better at escaping and moving around a little bit, but he's still very conservative. Like, he's not looking down the field. And I was trying to think of other quarterbacks that have had this problem in the past where they move, they get free, and they just, rather than looking down the field, like people that, like, there are quarterbacks that they'll fling it down the field when they get free, right? And they're trying to make plays, and he just doesn't seem to do that. And I think that's to the detriment of this offense. Like, they're not explosive enough when they need to be, because I don't think he's aggressive enough at times when he could be. And I think that is one of the biggest problems with this offense. I think they're solid. They're good. I mean, I think the offensive line is physical and dependable and solid. I think their skill positions are balanced. They're not explosive, but they're good. But I think Marcel becomes the problem at times because he's just not aggressive enough. That would be my problem with him. It's like, I don't know, Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning. Now, I'm not comparing their teams or their records, but they're very different players. And I would say he's more like a Tom Brady than a Peyton Manning, right? They're just different players. And I think at times they need somebody who will fling the ball, and he's just not that. So that's my thoughts.
I'm just going to start by saying I do not hate Marcel Reed.
I
hated him for what he did to Notre Dame last year, but I got to give credit where it's due, man. I don't care that Notre Dame's defense was playing like crap the first few weeks of the season. He still had to go in there and smoke them, and that's exactly what he did. So props to him. One more thing about the line issues we were talking about. I heard somewhere else today. They had 10 players from this team last year that are now in the NFL. Yeah, 7 of those were linemen, were offensive defensive linemen combined. So I do worry about both sides of the line here. But here's the thing. The main issue I have with Marcel Reed is he was stacked at the skill positions last year. Well, Reuben Owens and Le'Veon Moss in the backfield. He had Craver, Bethel Roman, and Casey Concepcion in the wide receiver room. Yeah, Concepcion's gone, but Isaiah Horton from Alabama comes over, and Reuben Owens is still there. So he's still got good skill position players. And again, one of the reasons I'm not going to bash this, because Elko brought in 4 offensive line transfers, all who played in the SEC, and combined for over 40 starts between those 4 guys. So Elko knows his stuff. Love that dude. Not really concerned about that. What I am concerned about, and we talk about this all the time, is we see these first-year quarterbacks, and Julian Sands, our favorite one to bring up as an example, because he's on one of the best teams in the country, really good against teams that really aren't that good. And then all of a sudden you get to a conference title game or a regular season matchup on the road or a playoff game against Miami, and you look like a first-year quarterback. Not saying you play terrible, but you look like a first-year quarterback. Now, we talk about and joke about SEC gauntlets, and it means more and whatever. All right, so last year they had 8 conference games. I'm going to give you the rundown of who Marcel Reed played in the conference last year because I just happen to have it. Auburn, 5-win team. Mississippi State, 5-win team. Went to a bowl game because there weren't enough 6-win teams. They lost to Wake Forest in that bowl game. Florida, 4-win team. Arkansas, 2-win team. LSU, 7-win team. Lost to Houston in their bowl game. Missouri, 8-win team. Lost to Virginia in their bowl game. South Carolina, 4-win team. So those are the first 7. And then we played Texas. Well, Texas A&M was sitting there undefeated with a chance to play in the conference title game. They lost to Texas, 27-17. Marcel Reed, 180 yards, no TDs, 2 picks. All right, you played Texas. That's understandable. You still got into the playoff. You were 11-1 or whatever you were. You played Miami. You lost 10-3. 237 yards passing. Again, no touchdowns. Again, 2 picks, and you lost a fumble. So you had 12 picks. You had 12 picks and four lost fumbles on the year. You had a third of those picks and 25% of your fumbles in 2 games. Okay, understandable if you're a first year guy, but that was your second full year of starting for this team, and we all like to see that progression from year 1 to year 2. And my concern is that what Marcel Reed is? I mean, is he just that guy that's he's hit his ceiling? He's going to dominate against crap teams. But then, you put somebody good defensively against him, especially with the perceived offensive line issues, a defense that may not be able to set that offense up as well as they did last year. And this schedule, I mean, God damn.
Look at that thing.
Your home schedule's decent. You do get Texas. I don't expect them to beat Texas. But look at this road schedule. LSU, Missouri, Alabama, South Carolina, they'll probably get Oklahoma. They could lose 4 of those right off the bat, and this win total under is cashing. I just think if Marcel Reed steps up from year 2 to year 3, this is going to be a 10-win team and probably make the playoff. If we've seen the best of Marcel Reed, this team's going 7-5 and playing in the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
You're right.
Not that
even with the best.
You love that bowl game.
Not
but
the Pop-Tart Bowl, but
well, goals. We all have goals. Pop-Tart Bowl is one of ours.
Pop-Tart.
But if Marcel Reed's if 2025 is Marcel Reed's first year, I would probably be super high on this team, even with the schedule, because he's got the good skill positions around him. I'll give the offensive line time to mesh. He's got an all SEC experienced offensive line there with him. I think if that gels quickly, he could have a good year. I just worry that what we saw this past year that's the best we're getting out of him. And I hope he proves me wrong, because I've seen him do some interviews. Good kid, man. I mean, totally decent individual. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just worry that, this is going to be his 3rd year. And I'm not concerned about the OC switch. This was an in-house promotion from a guy who was the assistant offense coordinator and coach of wide receivers. I don't see any drop off in his play because they brought somebody from another program. So I don't have a concern there. He had, 2 solid running backs, 3 solid wide receivers, a good offensive line, a solid defense. And the dude looked like he had no idea what he was doing, especially against Miami. That game was actually on ESPNU last week. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know he looked this out of it. Granted, some of that's Miami, and I'm not saying those last 2 games you need to throw for 700 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 1 pick, and not turn the ball over. But at this point, when you're playing your 24th, 25th, 26th game as a collegiate quarterback, I don't care what conference you're in, there should be some improvement.
And positively for them, right? He should be 6-1 before they lose the rest, right?
Exactly.
Right. I mean, that's pretty much it, right?
That ending
they're going to lose to LSU.
I think they're going to lose to LSU. I think they get on a nice little run.
Yeah.
But that
and
Alabama,
maybe South Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah. Oklahoma. Look at that November. South Carolina, just a road game. You can say it's
maybe
tough.
Tennessee at home, they could win. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. They could win.
Brandon could be firing on all cylinders, in that game. Who knows? But then at Oklahoma and Texas to end it.
8 wins max.
That's what I'm saying. And the under is minus 120 on DraftKings. That almost seemed like I had that written down, but then I was like, no, I got somebody else later to talk about that I'm betting on the under. But I don't know. It's just I just worry that we've seen the best from Reed. That's all.
I agree.
Well, Tim, I went all in. I went all in on these guys last year.
I know you did, buddy.
National champion. SEC
I even bought a hat
champion.
on your honor, which I can't find.
I had Marcel for the Heisman. I'm leaning over on this one. We disagree a little bit last year. They crapped the bet against Texas. That was a road game on a Friday night. You know how I feel about when I need a team to win on a Friday night. On the road. First time they played there in 16 years since they left the Big 12. Turnabout's fair play. I think they run the table. I think they go 7-0 at home this year. I think they can beat LSU. I think they can beat Missouri. I think they can beat South Carolina. So I was leaning over the 8.5 wins this year. So yeah, that is my thing. I was leaning it. I already had my bet on South Carolina. I'm limiting myself to 1 bet per conference here or per show. So, but yeah, that was my second choice, was over for the A&M. I like to coach and quarterback, the 2 most important things. Elko's a good defensive guy. Continuity with the offense. Got the assistant coming in, like you said. Marcel's got another year. My beloved Marcel Reed. So I'm still big on Texas A&M. I just don't want to throw it in there. Go ahead, Pete.
I have a question, sir. Question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did you say they were going to go into Death Valley and beat LSU?
Mm-hmm. I think they can do it. Are you going to be shocked if they do? Are you really going to be, oh my God, it's upset of the year if they do?
Yes,
No.
I will be shocked.
Yes, I would be shocked.
I will
Yeah,
not be shocked. Will not be shocked.
Well, actually, hold on. Credit to Tim. That LSU home game is after the Ole Miss game. So if we're saying Ole Miss had a letdown, LSU
could be a
certainly
letdown.
have a letdown as well. So I'm going to give him that.
But at home, that could be homecoming. Is that homecoming? That could be homecoming for them. I don't know.
Who would schedule A&M for a homecoming? Usually it's like a team like the Citadel or Missouri State.
I don't know.
Or Arkansas Pine Bluff. That's your homecoming game. You're not going to schedule like Alabama or some team like that for your homecoming. That's suicide.
To answer the question, would I still be shocked? Yes, I would, because LSU's defense is going to be legit.
It is who is it? It's a Miss. Hold on, I'm looking at the game. I'm curious.
It should be the Citadel, but you never.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State is their homecoming for LSU.
That's what it says. Yeah,
that fits the bill. They're another one I could. So, all right, from A&M, we're going to Texas.
Oh,
they look like the favorite here to win the SEC. They're at plus 300. Arch Manning and company. The over/under is 9.5 wins. All right, who wants to start with this one? You guys mixed up the order on me last time. Who wants to go first? Darren, you up?
Yeah. I mean, it's possibly the best roster in the country right here. Arch Manning, again, another first-year quarterback. Actually, his play got a lot better towards the end of his first year. Yeah, he had some stinkers in there, the Kentucky game, the Mississippi State game. But I think overall for a first-year quarterback, yeah, was he overhyped? Absolutely. That dude was not going to come anywhere near the expectations that were placed upon him because of his last name. But yeah, I think he's legit. Wouldn't surprise me if he wins the Heisman. I think this team is excellent. Again, North Carolina State running back we talked about last week, Hollywood Smothers, who spurned Alabama to come over there, and Raleek Brown from Arizona State, another lesser known because he played on the West Coast last year. Great running back room. Cam Coleman, probably the top wide receiving prospect in the portal wide receiver, is there now. Ryan Wingo's back. Emmett Mosley's back. The offensive line is usually the concern, as is Sark's play calling. But yeah, offensively, what's not to like about this team? Pete, did you see anything, or is this like Texas offense should be pretty legit?
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, you're talking about a future NFL quarterback, an offensive line that is one of the nation's best, fantastic skill position players, Sark running the thing. I'm not even gonna, I mean, obviously the personnel on this team on both sides of the ball is elite, right? As you said, this is one of the best rosters in the country. There was no question about that. This is a fantastic team. And, if Arch is healthy, the upside is, infinite, right? I mean, it's a fantastic team. So my question for this team, forget all that. I'm not even going to talk about the players because that's obvious, right? Any idiot can see that this team is fantastic with players. What we've seen with Sark and this team for years now is when they have played against elite SEC teams, specifically Georgia has dominated them. Georgia has dominated the line and not let Sark do anything with that offense and just control the game. And it's been a non-game. I mean, Georgia has been dominant over them continuously for multiple years, right? So they have not proven the ability to beat a team that is good on defense like Georgia that can stop them. And so the question is, at the end of the day, the only question for Texas is they should win the SEC, period, right? That they should, right? But can they? And can they make a run at the national championship? And it comes down to Sark, and can he figure that problem out? Because he has not been able to figure out how to get that offense to work around an elite defense consistently. That has been the problem with this team. They looked terrible in both playoff games against Georgia. Terrible, right? They could not do anything with that offense. They were completely outmatched. That was on Sark. That wasn't the players. That was on Sark. I mean, if he doesn't fix that problem this year, if they get beat in the playoffs again like that, he's out. And that's crazy because this team is amazingly good, but he should be out because they're never going to beat anybody that good because he cannot figure out how to beat a quality defense. And that is a problem. Like you talk about elite offensive minds in this sport, Lane Kiffin, Sark, right? But Lane figures out how to beat really good defenses. Sark has been having a problem with that in the SEC. That's got to get fixed this year. That is not that's not open for discussion. That has to get fixed this year. That is the issue with Texas. Where I'm wearing the goddamn hat here. That's got to get fixed this year, or else he's got to go at the end of the day. That's my position on Texas. They have to win this conference this year.
The one thing I think about that offense, I always go back to that semifinal game against Ohio State, down a touchdown, 1st and goal at the 1, and you go backwards, before like that was. I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? Sneak it 4 freaking times, just get in there and get the touchdown. That's when I was like, wow, Sark really does kind of suck at this play calling.
Yeah.
But yeah, defensively, real quick. I mean, again, we can go through all these players. They're just loaded with studs. Colin Simmons and his 12 sacks is basically the big guy here. The one concern I do have on this defense, and I don't know if Pete, you know anything about this, or Tim, if you do, Sark got rid of his defensive coordinator. Yeah, and Texas had an awesome defense last year, and they bring in, they got rid of Kwiatkowski. They brought in Will Muschamp, who was an analyst at Georgia last year. I don't understand that move when Texas defense was pretty damn elite. And I read somewhere that Muschamp hasn't had a top 10 defense in over a decade. So I don't know if either of you guys can explain that move. And if so, do you think this defense maybe regresses?
I don't know. I don't think he forgot how to coach. I mean, he was a good coach. I mean, back when he played, I mean, it's been a decade. When was the last time he coached?
Carolina, 2020, I think. Yeah.
So it's been 6 years. I mean, it's like.
Yeah, but again, that's something, we talked about the Fitzgerald hire. What was one of the things we talked about? Has the game passed him by? A lot of.
I mean, he was considered elite back in the day, right? I mean, before that, so 10 years ago, 15 years ago, he was considered elite. But that's a good question, Darren. Has the game passed him by, right? It's a different offensive game now. Head
coaches, why can't we ask it about defensive coordinators?
No, I think it's a perfectly good. That's a fair question. Has the game passed him by? I think, and unfortunately, I think Sark had to find somebody to blame or something. I don't know, but because I don't think the defense was the problem. I think the defense played
and that's why I had that in my notes. I don't understand why you get rid of that. I mean, I think play calling. I think is the problem. I don't.
Doesn't Muschamp play a little bit more of an aggressive defensive style? I'm trying to remember.
He does.
So I think he's trying to look for more of like a turnover-based defense to maybe kind of turn the field a little bit. I guess that's probably what he's looking for. I just don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, if he gets that, I think that would be helpful. But I don't know if he's going to get that. But I get the idea. If that's what he's thinking, at least that's logical to me. I understand it, but I'm not sure he's going to get it.
All right. And looking at this schedule that Tim's got up there, this win total is 9.5. It is juiced to the under. So Vegas looking at a 9-3 team here. I think a 9-3 Texas gets in because this schedule is frigging awful. But with that roster talent, any of you guys see a 10-2 Texas team here? Or you just think no, the schedule's just too damn tough.
2, 3.
Yeah, that Cotton Bowl game of Oklahoma's going to be fun. Whew.
That is going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, where are their losses? They're losing. I mean,
I don't think they're losing to Ohio State. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Well, they got them at home.
I don't think so either, but maybe. I mean, it's a possible loss.
I mean, Oklahoma. That's a new.
In Death Valley, maybe. Texas A&M is a toss-up because it's Texas A&M and it's a rivalry.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
at Tennessee is always dangerous. At Tennessee, that's one of the games where Tennessee does something stupid, right?
Yeah, we talked about they played like crap against, they had to have that big rally against Mississippi State in the fourth quarter last year. They went to Florida and got smacked around. There's a Marcus Freeman type stinker in here somewhere. I just don't know where it is.
So could they lose 3? Maybe, but that's 10-3, right? That's
if it's going to be like a stinker, if it's going to be a stinker or something, it'll be 11-28 there at A&M.
Like they go to Missouri or something and just like
sleep their way through it or something.
Yeah, or Missouri somehow,
or Arch tweaks his ankle or something and he's not playing. It's something. I mean, that could happen, right? Arch could tweak his ankle and he's not playing a game. Whatever, something. Yeah.
I don't know.
Even then, the team is so good. I don't care who's the backup. I don't know who the backup is. It doesn't matter, right?
Oh, didn't he come in and beat Mississippi State last year when Arch Manning got hurt? So if that's the same guy, he's not terrible either.
It's irrelevant, right? The team is so good.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
Curtis Painter's nephew is the backup, I guess. Well,
What did we
keep
say
it
on our
current.
Bankroll Management show? Know the quarterbacks, and here's the three of us. We have no idea who the backup quarterback is.
Well, the team's that good. It doesn't matter.
If he goes down, it just it doesn't
Do as we
matter.
say, not as we do. Prep better than we did. We don't know who Texas backup quarterback is either. Yeah, I don't know. I had a what did I have for a lean for this friggin' team anyway? I had a lean to the under, but I think I'm a little more confident that they're going to beat Ohio State. So maybe I'm flipping, but then again, like you said, there could be that stinker somewhere. So I'm just going to stick with my lean to the under. But I think a 9-3 Texas team gets in because it's
for sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Unless one of those, unless they lose to like Missouri or Mississippi State or somebody crappy.
They'll still get in.
It's Sarkisian, kind of like James Franklin.
They're starting the year number 1, so it's hard to get pushed down too far. They'll get back. They'll get in because everybody knows they're dangerous, right? You want Arch in the playoff.
They were dangerous last year. They didn't get in.
If Arch is healthy and they're decent, they'll get in because they want to see Arch in a playoff. Come on, it's a big name. It's money. They'll get in.
So is Sarkisian another 9-3? Is he going to get the reputation like James Franklin if they lose to Ohio State?
Yeah, he might. I mean, yeah.
Go the way of the Franklin. Be an interesting year. Stay tuned for Texas. Now we're going to move on. Finishing it up. No more Pavia Mafia. We got Vanderbilt plus 10,000. The win total is over under 6.5 wins. I think I had that mixed up again. But,
no, it's moved since you made the graphic. There was
okay,
very heavily juiced to the under, and a lot of books have dropped it to 5.5.
Yeah, for a good reason. So, Darren, we'll start with you with Vanderbilt.
Yeah, don't like this team very much. Jared Curtis, the new QB, supposedly very highly touted, says he's having an excellent spring. Cedric Alexander at running back, Junior Sherrill, wide receiver, both return. But again, how good are those guys going to be without Pavia because so many defenses keyed on him? Eli Stowers is gone. Pavia is gone. Trey Richardson's gone. They're all in the Pavia, I guess not in the NFL. He got cut by the Ravens and is working for Chipotle, but whatever. Maybe only one returning starter on the O-line. You only brought 3 offensive line transferred as well. I don't know what this offensive line is going to look like. 115th in offensive returning production. Such a good offense, I think, is not even going to regress. They're just going to crash and burn. Pete, you like this offense at all? Because I do not.
No, sir. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's nothing I like. I mean, I talked about all these other teams where I was like, oh, everybody's above 8 or 9. I have one rating above 8. Everything else is below 7 on this team. This team is not good. Offensive side, quarterback, there's competition. I don't know what's going to happen with their offensive line is, it's okay, but it's not very good. Skill positions, I think the explosiveness is greatly lacking, which is going to be a problem, but who knows who's going to be throwing the ball to them. I am not impressed by the offense and equally not impressed by the defense. I do think on the defensive side of the ball, if there is a strength, their linebacker core is a strength. It's a solid linebacker core. Solid. Not good, not great, but solid. I think the defensive front tries. I think they play with effort. Not exceptionally great, but they play with effort. Secondary is experienced. I'll give them that. But, average defense. They're just, unfortunately for them, they are very outclassed in this conference at the moment. So that is a problem on both sides of the ball. I mean, I do like their coach. If that speaks for anything, I really do like their coach. I just think at the moment, he had a good moment in the sun. His team was good. Now I think he's having a down moment where his team is not so good and he's lacking the talent that he can't coach talent you don't have. And I think he's lacking the talent that he could coach up. But I do like him as a coach. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, the defense, my notes, you hit it right on the head. Love the secondary. Not a big fan of anything else. I mean, they play that 3-3-5. They lost so much in that front 6. Secondary's decent. I mean, statistically, they were last in the conference in pass defense, but again, Pavia was putting up 38 points a game. I expect the Vanderbilt defense to be last in pass defense when you're trying to catch up to that maniac, every game of the year. But not a lot coming back here. We already talked about not all the NFL talent they lost on the offensive side of the ball. Tim, I think you just had the wrong year when you went Vandy under. I think
Yeah, that's my worst bet I ever placed. I mean, under 4.5 wins, and it was done by week 5. I mean, it was just like,
you just look at like this home schedule. You got Ole Miss, you got Alabama, you got Tennessee. You go on the road. You play South Florida 2.0 in Auburn. You go to Georgia. You go to Florida. That NC State home game, I'm not chalking that up as a win for them either. Because
they better win those first 2 games. If they don't win those first 2 games, it's going to go back because they're not winning a game after that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see them on the.
What's up, Drew? Welcome to the
show.
chat, man. Yeah, so I just don't see this team even sniffing the 10-win mark. I don't even know if this is a bowl team this year. And I hate to say it because Vanderbilt was such a punching bag, and it was so awesome to see them.
It was. I'm sorry, Drew, man. I like that team. It was so much fun to watch Vanderbilt be good. It really was. But I don't think they got the talent, and this schedule is brutal. Just brutal. Like Florida should be pretty good by the end of the year. That's brutal too. That's brutal.
Wrong conference to not have the horses, especially when you're playing a 9th conference game this year. So I do have a 1-unit bet on the under here for Vandy. I had 5.5. I did get some plus money on there. So I agree with Pete's assessment. No, sir, I don't like it. So
unfortunately, no. And it's a team I like generally. So it's just
exactly.
I like the Kentucky game. Looking forward to that one because we will be there.
That'll be fun for sure.
I hope my bet. Yeah, now that I think about it, shit, I bet under on both Vanderbilt and Kentucky.
You did.
Ooh.
Well,
somebody has to win that game,
I know. I didn't think of that. But then again, they could be like 2-6 and 1-7, and I don't care who wins. I still should be okay.
We'll be out there with Saratoga Ray. He'll be doing a 3 all or whatever he's going to be doing. So
whatever he can do.
The 24th. Yeah. So let's wrap this up. We've got our bets in. I've got a 2-unit play. South Carolina under 6.5 wins. Peter, what you got?
Yeah, I've got 2 units on Oklahoma over 8.5, which is an alternative line at plus 156.
Love that. I wussed out, and I just took the standard 7.5 at minus 145 for 1 unit. And Vanderbilt under 5.5, 1 unit as well at plus 120.
Sorry, Drew.
Drew's just waiting for that October Conference USA and November Maction because that's when Drew and I make some money. So,
well, aren't we all? I mean, right now we're just waiting for 28 more days.
30 days.
Woo! There we go.
That's going to wrap up. What's next? The Big Ten is next, people. The Big Ten
or whatever it is. So thank you for listening. Next week, we're going to be doing our part 1 of the Big Ten. We got Mark from Coach's Hot Seats going to join us as well. Darren, what you got?
I just want to let anybody know if you're new to the channel and checking out these live streams, first of all, thank you. There will be a 1-week break here to get ready for the 42-team conference that is the Big Ten. But starting 2 weeks from today, we're going to have something out like every single week through the national championship. And look for some shorts during the weeks in October and November, maybe even a second show. Who the hell knows? We'll see what goes on. But yeah, in 2 weeks, look for us weekly, man. We'll be here.
Some extra shows, maybe a couple online therapy sessions for all the bad beats that are no doubtly going to happen. So again, thank you all for watching or listening, and be sure to like and subscribe. Help us out. We got banned from Google, those bastards. My God, we're so controversial. We can't even get on Google now.
Get in like my hat.
My God.
Not happening yet.
All right, have a good week, everybody. F Google, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah.